Good evening again. This is Dr. Blair Reich with Aggroeds Antidote, treating your news feed September 8th, 2016. Little warning that there is some strong language in here. It's mostly Trump's fault. Anyway, so the whole point of doing this is that I'm trying to go share current events and perspectives that I don't find on the mainstream media. And I think as long as people are viewing the mainstream media and not having it another place where they can get the news, we're all sort of in trouble because you're getting lies and bullshit. So anyways, here are some of the top stories. Hillary Rodham Clinton had her another gigantic leak. This is a Podesta leak. And she's very clear in one of her private speeches to, I think this one was from Goldman Sachs, you need to have a public position and a private position on policy. And so you can't trust anything she says because behind closed doors, she will have a totally different position. Here it is. There's a bunch of memes in this one because it's all based off of Trump statements and people are memeing the hell out of it. But, you know, he was out there suggesting how you grope women. And so this is a response. Try to grab this pussy. U.S. Pacific Command Chief. These are the actual, like, serious headlines. U.S. Pacific Command Chief tells troops to be ready to fight tonight. Pentagon stunned as thousands of Chinese troops enter ISIS war. That one seems particularly bad news for sort of like global peace operations, having a few more thousand soldiers that are there, which are probably not there to help ISIS, which means that they're probably not there to go work collaboratively with the United States. That starts looking like not only is the United States in a proxy war with Russia, but it looks like the United States is in a proxy war with China. So that's starting to look bad. Anyways, Russia promises to shoot down American jets in Syria without warning, and world elite leaders want to replace the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency. To me, all of the big news events that are happening out there, it's really around this. It's about trying to go replace the United States dollar as the world reserve currency that everybody has to use. And it's probably going to this SDR thing, which is a super sovereign currency, which is like the central bank for central banks is issuing this. And that's like a cornerstone of global government. And so I'm talking about that because I'd like to see that not happen. Anyways, so WikiLeaks says we've published 1% of the Podesta emails so far. Additional publications will proceed throughout the election period. Go WikiLeaks, go. They're here to go. Crush that Hillary campaign, and they seem to be doing a beautiful job of that. This is my reaction to the Democratic and Republican nominees. It's me getting euthanized. Big thumbs up there. David Schuster tweet, grab her by the pussy versus let Wall Street fix Wall Street. Election 2016, what a choice. So now there's so many Clinton scandals that it has its own section. This meme, the media releases footage of Trump saying something dumb 1 hour after 2,000 emails from Hillary's campaign chair are released. That start looking like media collusion to me. And we've seen a lot of that with like Lester working with Hillary Clinton through signals. It's pretty clear that the media's in the tank for her. I just want to point out that if Hillary's elected and gets 2 terms, the same 3 families will have been in power for 40 years. That's something to consider. These are the actual leaked Podesta emails. Well, actually, just some of them are like Bernie's criticisms. And so the leaked Podesta ones just say everything that Bernie was worried about when he was campaigning against her seems to be true. This isn't her, but Harvey Weinstein urged Clinton campaign to silence Sanders' Black Lives Matter message. So he was not helpful there. I've written other things about Black Lives Matter. There's like the organic one, which is really a normal movement. People start killing black people that especially are unarmed, and people protest that. That's natural. But then like the Ford Foundation and George Soros get involved, pumping hundreds of $millions, which don't go to like the community, that goes to like funding rioters in North Carolina kind of thing. That part isn't so good. So, I just want to point out that half of Black Lives Matter is really awesome and the other half is totally shady. Hillary Rodham Clinton Wall Street speeches. So here's a collection of some of the things that she said. Again, another one, new WikiLeaks emails. Clinton supports regional government, elimination of U.S. borders, and the Trans-Pacific Partnership. That one's no bueno. WikiLeaks release, Hillary Rodham Clinton press secretary says gun control to be implemented by executive order. So all the gun grabbers, or the people that fear the gun grabbers, are probably right about Hillary. Only 125 people turn out for a Chelsea Clinton in Iowa. That's a good sign that people aren't buying into this bullshit. This is a rigged election, so Hillary actually only has to get to, with 4 candidates, she really only has to get to 25% plus 1 to go convince people that she's won. So the fact that only 125 people are coming out suggests that she might even have a hard time getting to the 25% mark. So that's pretty useful. Pulitzer Prize winning journalist asked why some of the world's worst tyrannies pour money into the Clinton Foundation. That seems like a really good question to me. Ex-Secret Service agent, people need to know the real Hillary and how dangerous she is. That's a good read. Paula Jones is probably being paid by Donald Trump to come out and make some of these statements, but she's coming back into the news after having been, sort of assaulted and violated by Bill Clinton. Nice little meme here that talks about how this is not a victory for normal women. This is a victory for giant companies that's worth paying attention to. Just going back to Hillary sort of in private and Hillary in public, 2 totally different people. And this is why lots of stalwart Democrats and former Bernie supporters refuse to support this woman. She'll say anything publicly and basically anything privately, where she thinks it'll benefit her somehow, but she's just caught lying so many times that people don't buy into it. Jill Stein is putting out some of the news about the Podesta. This is one Clinton is talking about her. I'm kind of far removed from the struggles of the middle class because of the life I've lived and the economic, fortunes that my husband and I now enjoy. So she's admitting, I guess Jill Stein is just pointing out that Clinton herself is acknowledging that she's totally out of touch with normal people. This one's Hillary Clinton. She's writing her own email, and you can see she's not using very nice terms that are in here. So if you happen to listen to this and you're of Muslim descent or Middle Eastern descent or anything like that, maybe even just partially dark-skinned, you might want to consider or reconsider your support for Hillary Clinton if you're one of the 8 people left in the country that still support her. In a private speech to Goldman Sachs, Hillary labels Bernie and Jill supporters as a bucket of losers. If at one point you supported Bernie and you somehow think it's a good idea to support Hillary, you might want to consider how Hillary thinks about you. Now, Trump is no angel either. So here are some memes that popped up because of his very lewd remarks back in 2005. Make America grope again. I love this little joke. I was going to say Jeopardy, but that's not what it is. But it's Wheel of Fortune. So I'm sure that you can figure out what that is. He does issue an apology for the locker room banter, so that was pretty good. On my newsfeed is this totally weird Trump is motorboating Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani's in drag. This is just creepy. The whole thing is creepy. I don't know how anybody supports either of these candidates, but there you go. If you're looking for some very bizarre behavior out of Republicans, you can see it there. The Clinton endorsement backfires as Sanders supporters look to Jill Stein. Trump told Howard Stern in 2004 it was okay to call Ivanka a piece of ass. So you have this Trump has this weird relationship with Ivanka, and that's certainly worth looking at. I like this Mean Girls thing. Quit trying to make WikiLeaks and Russia connection happen. It's not going to happen. Not all disabilities look like this. Some look like this. Those are your 2 major party candidates. Nice job, America. Again, more of these. I'm just pulling the ones that are coming off my Facebook feed. But there's a lot of them. So people got heated about these kind of comments. So grab him by the what? Grab him by the pussy. Trump Pence 16. I like this. This is actually a pretty smart comment. That Donald Trump grabbed the pussy audio was sitting somewhere with a label that said, in case of emergency, break glass and release this. Because it's so obvious that immediately after the WikiLeaks Podesta emails come out, and then suddenly this 10-year-old video of Trump saying bad things comes out an hour later. That's not coincidence. They have these things in reserve to help protect Hillary's image and get the headline news off of her. Here's another one of MFW. No one else realizes that Trump's latest scandal is nothing more than a calculated distraction from another HRC WikiLeaks dump. Yep, that's how I see this. Pay no attention to the WikiLeaks behind the curtain. Trump is making more horrible statements. So, I guess I'm not the only one that caught on to the fact that this thing was lying there in wait just so that the next time that Hillary is exposed doing terrible things, that they just try to brush it off and push it on to somebody else. All right, some other politics. Here's the Green Party platform. You probably haven't seen it, but it's worth a read. This is Obama. Gotta have them ribs and pussy too. He's read he's at the Cambridge Public Library reading. So there's your president right there. That's awesome. Malcolm X's late grandson said that President Bill Clinton, George Bush, and Barack Obama are puppets. So maybe that's somebody you want to listen to. George Soros promises Russian maiden on Putin's birthday. That was like a weird article. But anything involving George Soros probably isn't good for anyone. Well, maybe for billionaires, but not for anybody else. All right, in the government section, debt up $9 trillion under Obama. We're number one. UN Security Council vetoes rival resolutions on Syria sponsored by Russia and France. So you're not seeing like peace happening there anytime soon. 8 alarming warning signs that indicate war with Russia could be imminent. That's worth a read. That's the real fear, right? Like, they're trying to incite World War III. I do think that the military is smarter than to fall for this, but that's what they're trying. U.S. demands Russia be investigated for war crimes. That's more saber-rattling. Irish lawmaker calls Obama hypocrite of the century and war criminal. That's worth watching. Australia and other nations headed toward withdrawing from the UN. Despite Russian warnings, the U.S. considers hitting Assad. That's bad news. And WikiLeaks confirms HRC sold weapons to ISIS. Yes, that ISIS, like the horrible group out in the Middle East. We're arming them, in case you hadn't figured that out yet. Okay, so nice little meme here where, Russia, stop interfering with my democratic process. That's because we're blaming the Russians on the leaks. And here are all the countries that are jokingly responding, telling them, stop being such a little bitch, and you're a hypocrite. Okay, Julian Assange exposes massive conspiracy by showing how the internet was shut down during his announced press conference. So his announced press conference was probably a trap just to go show these two. These are the places where the internet went out, and they basically have a kill switch for the internet, and this is what was happening when he was speaking. And then after he was speaking, it went well down and sort of normal again. So obviously they had prepared to make sure that nobody could hear his message, and that to me is very telling. All right, Philippines president threatens to end U.S. relations, says don't treat us like a doormat. Hillary Rodham, this is Duarte. That guy's awesome. Like, he's killing all of his drug dealers. He's out there. He claimed himself as Hitler. He's basically the Donald Trump of the Philippines. And if he wasn't doing horrible things, like murdering lots of people, at the very least, he's highly entertaining. Crazy, but entertaining. Okay, so Hillary Clinton sought Pentagon State Department contracts for Chelsea's friend. That's more. So this isn't just politics. This is like what she's doing in the state, as Secretary of State. Violence. Here's a currently serving military man. We are starting World War III. Stand up to the government and demand an end to the proxy wars. That sounds like something we should all be doing. This guy. Dear Russia, should you at any time decide to come over here and fuck up our shit, please keep in mind we citizens have not had a say in our government operates for a very long time. So if shit hits the fan, please keep it directed at official government people and not the ordinary citizen, because we are in no way responsible for their actions, have no control over them anymore, and do not condone their actions. Sincerely, every fucking American. I like that, so I shared that. The U.S. is painting fighter jets to match Russian jets. So that Syrians believe that the Russians are bombing them. So that's creepy. It's horrible, but that's what I guess our government does. Russia kills 30 U.S., Israeli, British officers believed to be assisting ISIS. So now that starts looking real. They're not just killing ISIS. They're killing, soldiers. That's an escalation. All right, Russia beats the U.S. to the punch in Syria no-fly zone. The United States is talking about setting up a no-fly zone, but it's probably not going to happen. I probably should have posted this a little higher. Confirmation Tianjin was nuked. So Tianjin that was a place over in China where we saw some pretty big explosions. It was near some supercomputers and some other parts. It was probably, like, as some people suspected, that was probably a nuclear weapon. So, like, China got nuked. That might explain why they have thousands of troops now in Syria, basically fighting ISIS, which is like a U.S.-backed group. All right, CIA claims that they can predict societal instability days before it happens. My thought is it's pretty easy to do that when you're involved, but they're claiming that they have some method to do that. And then a bunch of these are about the police, because this is the violence section. Morton County Sheriff announces new law enforcement tactics for the No Dakota Access Pipeline water protectors. Police murdered Native American man. New video proves that they lied to cover it up. Police murder 6-year-old boy through multiple shots in the head. Like, it's just disgusting. People ask me why I'm so anti-police, and it's that kind of story. And I read them like once a week. It's infuriating. Police brutalize man for sitting on his mother's porch. I don't know if you know this, but he was black, and apparently it's illegal to be black in America. Cop unplugs body cam, shoots woman, turns camera back on, just in time for a gun to appear on the dead body. So there's another example where the cops are probably just planting weapons on people that they've killed. All right, Feds indict 80 people, including 18 corrections officers, in massive Maryland prison corruption case. Here's a long list of women who have accused Bill Clinton of sexual misconduct. It's pretty extensive. Presidential candidate Clinton says removing Assad in Syria is the #1 priority. So this is actually Hillary. And, there she is talking about removing democratically elected, presidents in other countries. They say dictator, but he was elected. And his people seem to still be rallying around him. Bill Clinton was frequent flyer on the Class 3 sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express. I put that in a story, and now other people have sort of caught on to this too. So that's good to see more people talking about that. Bill Clinton expelled from Oxford because he raped Eileen Wellstone. That seems worthy of note. Especially, a lot of these Bill Clinton scandals are coming up because they're comparing Bill Clinton to Trump. So watch this video of Bill Clinton actually grabbing a woman by the pussy. So that's pretty inappropriate for him. Judges question Ross Ulbricht's life sentence and Silk Road appeal. The UN Human Rights Watchdog orders Saudi Arabia to stop stoning children. That's Saudi Arabia, that country that stones children and is also funneling many millions of dollars into Hillary's campaign, and also because of the redacted and leaked 28 pages, was involved in the 9/11. That's not like conspiracy anymore. People that have studied that for a while know that they were involved. So now there's clowns all over the country that are showing up. Maybe this is just Halloween inspired, but they're also doing creepy things. So here's some blowback. I see a lot of these Clown Live Matters things on my newsfeed. I've been wondering this too. Rules of engagement: at home, shoot first and ask questions later. At war, don't fire unless fired upon. I saw a couple military vets post this kind of thing. They have to go through 3 or 4 steps before they're able to fire back, and these cops just shoot. So that doesn't make any sense. Nice little meme for Jesus. I can't eat that. I'm a vegan. Has that fish been tested for mercury? Is that bread gluten-free? It's the sign of the times, people. Mandated vaccines will be a toxic reality of a Clinton administration. That's an opinion piece. Switzerland completely abolished mammography screenings. These things are probably causing cancer. I can't say that for sure, but the mammography is probably just as bad as the other things that cause it. Okay. The story of the very first MMR vaccine. So this is out of the movie Vaxxed. That's worth watching. Moms against mandatory flu shots win again in court. That's helpful. Oh, this is supposed to be bolded. Mainstream media manipulation. CNN accused of bias against third parties. They refused to mention third parties on the air. They just said that the candidate or the people that they were polling were undecided. They weren't undecided. They were like overwhelmingly in favor of third party candidates. Okay, bankster economy. When your mom thinks you're on drugs, but you're actually just contemplating the next inevitable financial crisis. And also you're on drugs. Help Haitians, not the disaster capitalists. So like all that money that went to the Red Cross, $500 million to go help the Haitians, and 6 homes were built. Yeah, don't keep sending money to these big giant corporations and nonprofits that swear up and down that they're going to go help people and never do. You're better off sending like food or supplies or something if you really want to send something. MBTA outsourcing deal. This is a Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority outsourcing deal okayed hours after arrests of union protesters. So that's shady business between the basically the state and the anti-union companies. Yahoo CEO purges male employees, lawsuit charges. Iceland sentences 26 corrupt bankers to 74 years in prison. You know, that's like 3 years on average for each one. That's not a lot of prison time for people that destroyed an entire economy. How Roman central planners destroyed their economy. This is like a history lesson. That's a nice read. More Confessions of an Economic Hitman. I don't know if you've heard Confessions of an Economic Hitman. That's certainly something to Google. There's some animated versions of this that talk about how the CIA will send in goons to go convince people to follow basically American corporation commands. And when they don't, then they start killing people. But the big corporations have been doing this in other countries. Now they're actually doing this in America. So it's time to pay more attention to that if you haven't already. The environment, the largest Native American protest in history, is happening right now. That includes this pretty amazing scene where multiple indigenous chiefs are coming together to unite against the Dakota Access Pipeline. Here's a machine that can go chew up trees. So I just called it somewhere a Lorax's crime. And I think that the weather is now, you got to look at this weather. One, here's a little humor. If Hurricane Matthew merges with Hurricane Nicole, we will have the first transgender hurricane, and it won't be allowed to use the North Carolina coastline. But I put that in front because these things are probably geoengineered storms. So here's a geoengineering watch that you should look at. And then here is somebody else that's claiming that Hurricane Matthew was geoengineered and aimed at Florida. So I've been speaking to some people that helped develop technology to do this. It's real, it exists, and it's been around since like 1995. So these are definitely man-made storms. Life. Reddit has some epic trolling of Harambe lovers. So if you love Harambe and you like sort of the Reddit approach, you'll enjoy that. There's an American that's sort of like rocking, I forget what heavy metal band he's rocking to, but he's doing that while Hurricane Matthew is there. Here's Donald Trump as a pumpkin. Millions of people disagree with your political views. That doesn't make them moral monsters. That is, of course, unless you support Hillary, because then you're like an idiot or you have completely lacking morals. Kim Kardashian confesses Paris robbery was staged. That's just funny. Those people are such idiots. Cox not Glocks. The women that were down in Austin protesting concealed carry get invited to the White House. So that shows you where, if you hadn't already figured it out, where the Obama administration sits on personal ownership of guns. Cool Rube Goldberg device. This one turns a page, but it takes 6 minutes to get there. It's pretty good. I'm not entirely sure that this is a real hooker, but it's Greed Hooker or something like that. Gives guys some sex advice. You attract into your life a reflection of what you think. I think this is very true. But you also attract into your life what you judge. If you think people are dishonest, you attract dishonest people. If you're focused on a sickness or disease, you attract more. If you focus on poverty or lack, you gain nothing more than an empty bank account. Everything you hold in your conscious thought becomes your cage and your reality. See abundance, see honesty in all, embrace good. That's a nice spiritual lesson. There's a breastfeeding pic that's about to come up, so if you can't handle that, you should close your eyes. But this is a picture of a mom that was helping a stranger So these two kids are not like brother and sister. One of these is a stranger's kid, and this mom said that she would help feed this baby. And I think it's this baby, because this baby is the one that looks sicker than this one. So I think this is a sweet picture. When my toddlers are teenagers, I'm going to wake them up at 4:45 a.m. just to tell them my sock fell off. I've definitely been dealing with some parenting stuff, so that just made me smile. There's a leaked video that pulls back the curtain on the Mormon leadership. That might be worth a look for some of you. Alien disclosure, the Podesta WikiLeaks bombshell. Clinton advisors are aware of aliens. So, I don't know where I stand, but that's certainly fascinating to see that the Podesta emails talks about that. Local hero. So there's a red light. Robin Hood hero strikes again. Risks years in jail destroying red light cameras. This guy is awesome. So you should pay attention to what he's doing. He's stopping red light cameras from working in his town, and he's declaring that they're illegal, and he's taking action. Pretty awesome to see. Okay, Steam posts. Your government legally owns you. These are all from Steam. So if you don't care about Steam or where I blog, that's great. That's okay. But these are posts from here that I thought, especially where I'm blogging, that other people would be interesting. Education and indoctrination. Is there a difference? Deconstructing obesity. How to build a more sustainable world. Buckminster Fuller was a genius. So here are some of his wild ideas. More perspectives on living in the Matrix. This is about an animal. It's sort of an entertaining piece. A brief history of fake government media, and I'm working on a piece that's like that. Why I promote positivity is what that's supposed to say. And then there's a series about a geek in prison. And if you're not in the Steam community, you won't know this, but this is a very, very entertaining read about Charlie Shrem, who was a programmer that got sentenced to jail time. And this is sort of him cataloging his own life in prison. So that's the news that I saw. It's a big article list, but hopefully that's enough to keep you entertained. All of this stuff, all these links are in steemit.com/@aggroed, like you see up here. And if you're interested, come take a look. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.